Wow, the regular financial markets have been tanking right here, and it dragged Bitcoin along with it. And most traders are asking themselves the very realistic question: was this the top in the regular financial markets? Was this the top in the Bitcoin market? And are we going to see a multi-year long bear market right now? Are we going to enter a bear market? I'm going to try and answer that question in today's video, although it is a very complex question. But let's just jump straight into it. And what we can see right here, the regular financial markets got rejected from the resistance of this channel. Right now they are seeing a bounce from the support of this channel, and below right here, this red line, these are the interest rates. And Jerome Powell from the Federal Reserve already said that he's going to cut interest rates, which means that there will come eventually more liquidity back into the markets, and many people associate this with a positive market, right? The thing is that if we look at historical price action from the S&P 500, every time we are seeing rate cuts, it is followed by a massive correction, often even a bear market. So right here, the 2007, 2008 financial crisis, the rate cuts came, we entered a bear market. The dot-com bubble, we actually already entered a bear market before the rate cuts came. But what I did, guys, I've calculated from the historical price action of the S&P 500, the moment we are seeing rate cuts, how long does it take that we are going to see a massive market correction or that bear market? And the calculation came to 6 to 18 months after we have seen the rates being cut. So that means that right now, if we are going to see a rate cut in September or maybe even this month, the market could still go up. It could still go up for 6 to 18 months until we are going to see that massive correction. Because in my dictionary, guys, there is no question that these interest rates that went really fast up for a very short amount of time, spending some time right here, this will have an effect on the regular financial markets. So here we can see this block of high interest rates eventually also crashed the markets. This block of high interest rates also crashed the markets with the March 2020 crash. This block of increasing interest rates also had a declining effect on the markets. This is basically how it works, because rising interest rates actually take liquidity out of the system because money becomes expensive again. However, the thing with this is that it takes there is a delay. There is a delay, and what we can see right here is that the interest rates went up very, very, very quickly in a short amount of time, which means that it still takes some time before this will take full effect on the price, if you ask me. So for my calculations, I think there's still a possibility that we have a 6 to 18 month window where prices still can go up without seeing the effect yet from the rise of these interest rates right here. And what we can see in the S&P 500, we touched the support right here. Of course, if we are losing that support, we might see the correction already right now. But I think there's still a possibility. There is a possibility that the party is still on, but there's also a significant possibility that we might have seen the top. And I will show you that with another chart. That is this chart. That is the S&P 500 divided by the money supply. And what I've basically been saying is that in this red box, I'm expecting the S&P 500 to top. And what we can see is this kind of looks like a top. The problem again is if we are very late if we are at the end stages of a massive cycle top, then things can go pretty crazy, right? We can see a blow off top. This kind of looks like a blow off top in the right time period, so that definitely increases the risk that we are seeing a top in the regular financial markets. However, it is possible, of course, that this is just going to rally and is just going to go up for the next 6 to 18 months, because it's still possible that we are going to top later in this time period. We just entered this time period, right? I'm expecting the next low to happen around the end of 2026. So I definitely expect the markets to top between now and the end of 2025. I definitely think that is a realistic time period where the market stop, but it's still a lot of time. That's longer than a year. where we still could see maybe 1 or 2 last rallies in the regular financial markets, and of course in Bitcoin, right? If we scroll back in Bitcoin, and we can see right here from the moment the bull market took off, so the moment we actually broke the all-time high right here, how long did it take until we reached a bull market top? That took 16, let's call it 18 weeks. You see what I mean? This is a very short amount of time where we actually are in this bull market. This was a crazy moment, right? But if we look at the price action right now, we're consolidating at the previous all-time high. That's also what we did right here. Here we were a little bit later in the cycle, so we had less consolidation. Once we broke, things went crazy. Right now, we just have not really broke the all-time high yet, but Bitcoin is hovering around these levels. But if we zoom in on Bitcoin, guys, we can say a couple of things. First of all, it's looking pretty ugly on the weekly time frame. Why? Because we had this break below these weekly levels right here, the 20-week moving average and the 21 weekly EMA. We had this break below, but then we broke back above. We were like, okay, maybe the bull market is back on, but we couldn't hold this level as support. And that's a big problem, because this is really showing weakness, because previous times we have seen something like this. We actually saw the start of a bear market, right? With the exception of this one, and with the exception, not really exception this one, because we still visited pretty low levels. This was probably an exception, but you can also argue not, because the moment we broke below this level, we did had a retest of the highs, but we were actually in a bear market because the uptrend did not really continue. Right, so generally when we break below these key levels, it is a bearish sign. Bitcoin dumped all the way down to even below $50,000, and a lot of people lost a lot of money probably. There were a lot of liquidations. A lot of altcoins were doing pretty bad as well. We did see a quick buy up from 50k. So right now we have quite a significant bounce till 57,500. But we definitely have to say that yes, there's a lot of weakness in the Bitcoin chart, and we would love to see a recovery and break back above 60,000 and break back above 65,000 when we are going to see this bounce, because Bitcoin of course did grab a lot of liquidity below us. So I definitely think that we can see a nice bounce from this, but we definitely have to reclaim some levels, because there has been some significant damage to Bitcoin. If we could have held this level right here, the 20 week moving average and the 21 weekly EMA, if we could hold that level on the weekly time frame, I think things would have looked very, very bullish, and the chances would have increased to breaking that all-time highs and getting to that acceleration phase of the bull market, like a similar period as we have seen right here. Only right now it's becoming a little bit more, the chances just simply decreased. I'm happy we actually took profits on a trade. So I had a trade open over on BingX, had over 300% profit. I shared this over on Twitter. And what we can see right here is at the moment we actually touched the resistance. I shared a tweet that it's smart to take profits right here. Because most likely, even though we would break through to break the all-time highs, we wouldn't do it in one go. So I would anyhow first expect a correction, maybe to the middle of this channel, and then maybe we can go up and get another try and then break it. Normally, after such a rally, there is no fuel left to really push such a barrier. So that's why I took profits on this trade. Very happy eventually. Of course, I didn't expect this to completely turn around. I actually expect maybe we visit the middle of the channel and then maybe have another attempt of the all-time highs and then hopefully break it. But that just didn't happen. Also shows again that it's always very important, especially when you are leverage trading. Spot market doesn't really matter that much, because you can just continue to hodl depending on your situation, but take profits where you can, right? And sometimes just take half of the trade out so you at least have some profits. Now guys, let's go to Will Portal. Let me share you what we can see right here. And let me make it a little bit clear for you. So let's first get rid of the the heat map, the buying and selling pressure heat map. So what you can see right here on the chart is the sentiment. We are reading the social sentiment on a daily basis, so that's adjusted. And what we can see right here, this is also something that I shared on Will Alerts, the private Telegram channel, is that, guys, we have a very long time of a bullish sentiment. This is already a little bit dangerous, right? Because when we have multiple days bullish sentiment and we are at the resistance, like I said here over on Twitter, from this channel, then the chances that we are going to get rejected from that resistance is high. And especially when we look at the momentum indicators and we can see, for example, right here, a bearish divergence or a multiple bearish divergence, because we have a one right here, we have a high and a higher high in the chart, we have a high and a lower high in the chart right here, and even coming with a lower high. So what we can see right now is actually the sentiment is still bullish. It's not as bullish as here. As you can see, the green right here is a little bit more green than right here. Still, the sentiment is bullish. We got to be careful with that, because when the sentiment remains bullish, even though Bitcoin had a massive correction, then we have not been able yet to reset that sentiment. So, for example, right here, that's also why we opened that long position. We had a very nice low. We retested that low, and as you can see right here, now we have the opposite. So we have a bullish divergence, a higher low on the momentum indicator, also a higher low on this momentum indicator. We can see that the sentiment right here is red, which means that the sentiment is negative. And then when we bring out the buying and selling pressure heat map, that is called heat map 2, but let me get rid of the sentiment first, then we bring out heat map 2, you can see that the red right here is decreasing. So here we have increasing red, which means selling pressure is increasing while price moving sideways. That's not a good sign. Price goes down. Now the red is decreasing. So now we have the lineup. So I always compare this with surfing, right? Because with surfing, you have to be in the water, you have to pedal to your position, you gotta wait, and then you gotta time to jump onto the wave once that wave comes. This is the same with trading. So you gotta wait for the right position, then you gotta see if everything lines up correctly, and if everything lines up correctly, you have a higher chance of actually catching that wave. If maybe 2 of the 3 things are lining up, okay, you have maybe a lower probability, but you can still surf. You still want to play. You still want to be active in the markets, maybe. But this was a beautiful setup. We got negative sentiment. We got the selling pressure decreasing, bullish divergence on the momentum indicators, and space to go to the top. Plus, we retested these lows right here. So that was pretty beautiful. Then we had this nice increase. And you can see the selling pressure was increasing. Not that significantly, of course, in very bullish markets. Like a selling pressure like this can still act as a resistance. But the price could still go higher. But as we can see right here, didn't turn out. So we have some selling pressure and the price turned around. But pretty quickly, you can see that already. Probably that has to do with a lot of liquidations as well. The selling pressure decreased, and now we even see buying pressure, which we haven't really seen that much of in the past, right? We have seen some buying pressure right now. We can see that the 4-hour momentum indicator has been going to oversold conditions, right now turning back up. We can see right here the momentum indicator is coming up. This is looking good. Doesn't mean that right now we just going straight up. We could still retest these lows right here, but I'm definitely, with the picture that I'm seeing right here, I'm expecting a bounce. But it is very important how the data will evolve over the next coming days and weeks, because if we will see something like this, where we indeed see a small bounce, but then during that bounce we actually don't see that much strength. This is not much strength. This is a bounce, but it still moves pretty sideways. While that happens, we see an increase in selling pressure. And let's see how the momentum was during that time. We see that the momentum is neutral. So, okay, there's not a clear picture on the momentum, but we can see that the selling pressure is increasing and the bullish price action is not that significant. So this could be then a warning signal. So yeah, guys, that's what I want to say with Bitcoin. We really gotta wait. If Bitcoin wants to if we want to have more confirmation that Bitcoin is back into a bull market, we really need to break above these two key moving averages, and the latest one is at roughly 65,000 US dollars. If we can break above that one, then we definitely are in more bullish territory, and there will be more confidence in the markets. There will be more speculation. There will probably go more money to altcoins. If we have a look at, for example, the Bitcoin dominance, we do see that we still haven't broken the resistance yet, so we still could see a rejection right here. I would actually argue that it's still possible. Also, the timing period that we are in, going into the end of the year, maybe September is known to be, September is basically known to be one of the most bearish months for Bitcoin. Might see something like that this September as well, but generally towards the end of the year we can see often good times for Bitcoin, but also especially for altcoins. So maybe this one will still eventually break out to the downside by the end of this year, and we still get that altcoin season. Right now it doesn't look like that, I know, but it's definitely still possible. This chart is something that I find very scary, to be honest. This is the stablecoin dominance chart. Let me get rid of the moving averages, guys, right here. But this is the stablecoin dominance chart, and this is basically an inverse correlated chart with Bitcoin. So when this chart goes up, Bitcoin goes down, and when this chart goes down, Bitcoin goes up. And what we basically saw was that we have a very nice 1, 2, 3 wave right here, and we got rejected from the resistance. But what we're seeing right now, and this candle is not closed yet, but we see an attempt of breakout from this declining resistance, and this declining resistance has been formed since the end of 2022. So if this declining resistance is broken to the upside, it means that we are seeing a change in the market structure of the stablecoin dominance that most likely will increase the likelihood that the market dynamics in Bitcoin also has changed, and that we maybe enter a bear market. Then when we have a look at Solana, guys, Solana looks pretty good. It's probably the best looking altcoin right here. We had a deviation below the support, quickly buy up, right now already trading at 150. I catched a little bit of Solana right here, so I'm happy with that. Not too much, but I just dipped my toes a little bit further into this altcoin. But the weight right now is definitely on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is going to be very important together with the regular financial markets. I'm also going to share with you the perfect storm. Okay, so the perfect storm, what we could see is, if we look at the narrative, right, we have the presidential elections coming up. Well, there's probably a high chance that Trump will become president. Well, we all know that Trump is a very pro-Bitcoin and pro-crypto president. So for sure, that would bring a lot of confidence back into the crypto markets if he would become president, or if he would gain popularity. And this combining with the Federal Reserve cutting interest rates maybe this month or next month also is actually a nice narrative, a nice storm for something similar that we have seen in 2020. Why 2020? Where we had that massive crash right here, we also had similar conditions, right? We had massive quantitative easing. People were suddenly waking up like, whoa, so much newly generated money is entering the system, and a lot of that money flowed to Bitcoin. So when we are seeing right now something like that happening again, we have a crisis, we have a crash in the markets, right? We have seen something with the Japanese stock market, with the regular financial market as well, but the Japanese stock market crashed so hard, something we haven't seen. Like last time we've seen it was 1987, if I may recall correctly. So it's a significant market decline. It's a significant crash. And these crashes are also the reason why, for example, Jerome Powell says, okay, but right now we are going to cut rates. We are going to inject liquidity into the system, right? So we have not seen as big of a crash as we have seen in March 2020, but we have seen enough big of a crash to not do too much damage maybe, but still get reasons to start with quantitative easing, which eventually that liquidity will flow. Most likely a lot of that liquidity will flow to the regular financial markets, but also to the crypto markets. So that is what I'm looking at right now, guys. I'm not yet seeing the signs that Bitcoin entered a bear market, but we are definitely at a very different picture than we were a couple of weeks ago. Right now is definitely looking more bearish. So the probabilities of that we are entering a bear market right now have significantly increased, and we have to seriously consider that. Consider that we have not seen this bull market, a crazy altcoin season, a blow off top. It still might come. But the chances increase that it might not come as well. And that might be hard to believe. I also find it hard to believe because I already been here for like a couple of cycles. So it just feels like a playbook that is being played over and over again. But we don't have any certainty that will happen right now. I'm still positioned for it. Like, I'm personally still positioned for it. I didn't sold any of my altcoins that I was holding during this drop, and I've been heavily investing into altcoins. I actually bought more altcoins during this drop, and I'll keep on holding those altcoins. And I'm also prepared I'm just prepared to go to zero if that is necessary to do, right? So I don't have all my money in altcoins. I have most of my money in Bitcoin, but of course I have a significant amount in altcoins. But I'm definitely prepared. I'm definitely prepared to write that all to zero, just to play the hodless game with altcoins, because I know right now there is a very bad season of altcoins. Charts are looking very ugly, but I also know that sooner or later that pendulum will swing, and sooner or later there will come a season where altcoins will thrive. So yeah, I would definitely not sell my altcoins at these levels. So for example, if we look at one altcoin like DYDX, like this is below the levels. This is below the levels of the start of the bull market, the previous bull market, right? So we have really, you can say it like this, or it's a very bearish chart, or we have gigantically cheap altcoins. Some altcoins are very, very, very cheap, and we know that altcoins generally only outperform Bitcoin or only gain traction once Bitcoin breaks all-time high, and we haven't seen that yet in Bitcoin. So there's some uncertainty in the markets. That's why it's a high risk, but you also get beautiful prices. So if you are interested in altcoins, it's definitely right now are the times to load on the bags. But you carry high risk, but you gotta embrace that risk as well, because without that risk, you will also never get those gains. Right? If everyone knows for sure that these altcoins are going to pop, the altcoins wouldn't going to go up. The altcoins wouldn't be at these prices. The uncertainty, people don't know what's going to happen. The instability in the regular financial markets, the instability in crypto, in Bitcoin. Has Bitcoin seen the bull market top? Is altcoins off the table? This insecurity is driving these prices down. So later, when the confidence comes back, Trump becomes president, and we see quantitative easing again. If we have not yet seen the top, I see a perfect storm for massive liquidity going to Bitcoin, going to crypto. Bitcoin is definitely going nowhere. Guys, this is my 5 cents. This video took way longer than I actually planned. I want to thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a thumbs up. If you are not subscribed to the channel, make sure to do so. Very much appreciated. Watch my other videos as well. I dropped some tutorials, one yesterday about CoinW exchange, very interesting, but also a lot of tutorials about Bybit, using trading bots, copy trading, and so on. Make sure to check out those. And yeah, guys, I want to wish you all a beautiful day and hope to see every single one of you in the next video.